Welcome. I have to sneeze. Oh God. That's coming. Ah, it went away. I hate when that happens because sometimes a sneeze feels good. I remember learning that a sneeze is apparently 1/16 of an orgasm. I don't know how true that is, but if I can multiply a sneeze by 16, and I'll let you guys know if it's the same type of rush sensation. Anyways, today is September 21st, 2022. It's your boy, Coach Vic, certified land investor. I turned dirt into dollars. Glad to be here with you. I'm a couple minutes late because I'm working on a couple of deals now. I'm actually pretty excited for them because they're becoming more lucrative than I thought they would be. So yeah, fingers crossed. I will let you guys know about those if they come to be. But today, I was asked a question from VJ. He said some gurus are saying to send blind offers only, while others are saying to send initial letter indicating that you are buying vacant land. Which one do you recommend? All right, well, I'm going to answer that, and I'm going to give a whole lesson about just your offer letters in general. So hopefully this will be useful for you, VJ, and anybody else that's looking to put an offer together, put a letter together, it's text messaging, whatever it is, because it's the same type of general idea. So also, if you have any questions, shoot them in the chat. Let me know because I'll be glad to answer them. And they do not have to be on offer letters, but it would be probably best if we stuck to that topic. It's just that today was more of a general Q&A that I was looking to do. The only question that seemed to be asked is just about offering stuff. So that's why I'm doing this whole lesson. But that's why I said any question is fine. But in general, let us rock and roll. Hold on to your butts. So before I dig into that question, let me just say that when you are sending out an offer, right, a letter, a text, sometimes voice dropped, I don't use those anymore, or you're cold calling, you're trying to get somebody interested in selling, right? Now, if your ad copy is crap, meaning the words that you say, be it in the text or the letter, or just what you're saying in a cold call, if your offers are trash, or if like you're just going to be a pain in the ass to work with, nobody's going to call you back. No one's going to want to deal with you. So first, you got to make sure everything's on point. Now, we'll talk about how to get those things on point. But it doesn't matter what vehicle you use to get that offer out. If you have bad ad copy, you have bad offer, and you're just unpleasant to work with, it doesn't matter what you do because no one's going to want to work with you. You're not going to get any deals. Now, you may be asking, well, how do you know, or how will they know if I'm unpleasant? I'm just sending a text, or I'm just sending a letter or a postcard, whatever. Don't worry, we'll get into that. Now, I used to be worried about a lot of different things that didn't matter, like, oh, the font size, and should it be a letter versus a postcard versus, those things don't matter. Now, it was a while ago, I was heads down working on some math, doing research, and I wanted to share with you, I've been doing this stuff for a while. There's certain things that I kind of put together when it comes to putting the offers together. But my goal is to help you minimize your out-of-pocket experience. I'll keep it real with you. So real talk, I remember back in the day, I was doing my first mailer, right? And it always starts the same. I'll get whatever data I can find, and usually the assessed value of the property, divide that by 4, that was my offer. And the assumption was that I can sell the lot for more than the assessed value, or at least the assessed value. But that math wasn't correct, because sure, that may work in certain areas. In most areas, that wasn't the case, because sometimes the assessed value was much less than the actual retail or market value of the property. So my lowball offer was so lowball, it was insulting to some people. Now, whether it's something that's a truly an insult or not, that's, up to your discretion. But some people just felt like, why would you offer me a property that's worth 100,000? You offer me 10,000 bucks, 5,000 bucks. That doesn't make any sense, right? Obviously, people are going to not respect me, my offer, or look to even call me back to even tell me about myself if I'm so far out of left field when it comes to price. Later on, I was kind of using trial and error to kind of figure out the prices. So I'll send out a bunch of letters, see if people respond to that, and maybe you'll get some low-hanging fruit. And then readjust the letters after a certain amount of time, resend them out to people who didn't respond, and so on and so forth. And that's okay, but that takes a lot of money. Now you guys know my escape velocity strategy, where I'm looking at retail prices, using that to kind of base my calculations. Now, getting back to VJ's question, right? Blind offers, while others are saying send an initial letter or that you're just looking to buy land. So a blind offer is basically, look, I'm gonna pay you X for your property. That's it, right? $2,314 for your property. Why is it those weird, odd, I wouldn't call it odd, but like non-round, like 5,000, 10,000 numbers? Well, for some people, they think, oh, it makes it sound like it was more calculated and it's less of a personal thing and more of a just what the math says. And I can get that. Where then you have the initial neutral letter, so to speak, basically saying, hey, I'm looking to buy property. Please give me a call and we can discuss price. I've done both. I don't like either. I like to do an offer range. Why is that? Well, I don't want to use, I don't want to talk to people who aren't looking to sell in my price range. If I give them a neutral letter saying, just call me back, let's see if we can figure out a price. Well, I'm gonna get people call me back who wants retail and more. I'm gonna get people calling me back that just wants to use me as like a land appraiser, saying like, okay, well, how much can I get for the property? Oh, that's the amount. Okay, great, thank you, goodbye. Right? Well, they have no intention to sell. I don't want to waste my time, and I don't want to waste their time, frankly. And then with a blind offer where it's just a straight up number, people don't realize that they can, we can negotiate, or I should say, and that number may not be accurate, because what if I talk to the person, I find out that, oh my God, there's a lot of problems with this property. I don't want it for that price anymore. When a person already has their heart set on a certain price, breaking their hearts, it happens all the time. It's not like you can't do it, but I prefer not to do business that way. I keep it real. Like, look, here's the price range I like to, I'm looking at for, for your lot. Call me back if the price range I'm offering makes sense to you. Basically, if it's something you will work within. If it's not, then don't call me back, because I'm not going to go over my price. If it is, then we're in business. Now, we still may not come to a good price, but at the same time, they're coming on the phone, understanding exactly what their what the expectation should be. Now, with that said, let's actually get into how I come to these numbers, right? Now, as I said, I used to just take the assessed value divided by 4. Now, with my low ball offer. And again, that works in certain areas. And in my experience, that worked with the desert squares, like the very rural, very no one gives a shit about areas, the places that you wouldn't be able to find on a map with 2 magnifying glasses. These places where people, they don't really value the land either, where you're not gonna get water to it and things like that, and that's okay. It's quick, it's dirty, it's easy, you can make it happen. But here's the thing, that mindset and that like mentality kept me in those low value, low dollar areas. This is where you have property that you have to sell on terms, for 100 down, 100 a month or whatever it is, and hoping that you can get your money back in a couple of months by jacking on like documentation fees and closing costs and stupid stuff like that, which I think is bullshit. When I was in that mindset too, to be honest, I was afraid to overpay for property, because I knew how hard it was to sell the property when I got it for cheap. So if I knew if I took the assessed value and I just divided it by 4 to be my offer value, I would never overpay. But now those offers aren't competitive. So if anybody else is looking to buy property in that same area, obviously the person that has a better offer, meaning offering more money, or in some cases more money, or a quicker and easier transaction, they're going to get more opportunity to buy those properties. So I was losing out on stuff. And then when I was buying it, I was still nervous because I was in areas I didn't like that much. So I had to get out of that. After a while though, you will get deals. You talk to enough people, you shake enough hands, kiss enough babies, you will get some deals, but you start to see the holes in the game there. Like, I don't really know what I'm offering. I don't know, things should be better for worse. I don't know how to make this apply if I can't see the assessment data that easily, things like that. So I got away from that. So don't do that. 2020, as you guys know, I came up with the escape velocity strategy with the help of my coach. It's actually his strategy, but I kind of tweaked it and changed it for me. This gave me more accurate data. This helped me to understand, okay, how do I get my price ranges in order? I still use similar math where I'm taking what the value is worth, but I'm dividing it by 4, 3, and sometimes it's in half, just depending on the property. I'm a lot more flexible now because I know I'll make up my money on the sale. Here's the thing though, I was using, and I still do this a lot, just depending on the area, what people were asking for property and not necessarily for actual sold comps. Now, sometimes you can't really get sold comps unless you have access to the MLS, you know, a broker or a real estate agent that will give you that information. Sometimes you don't want to talk to those people. You just want to kind of move fast. So in general, you want to make sure that, okay, if I'm using what's on the market now, what's for sale now, you have some kind of little fudge factor, like some kind of number that you can use that'd be like, all right, if someone's offering a property for or listing it for $10,000, I will assume that they're not going to get their asking price and they'll probably sell it for like 8,500, 9,000. And so in this case, what is about 10% of the asking price is probably what they'll get, give or take. That's what I'll do. If it's for sale by owner, maybe I will have a smaller little fudge factor versus if it's for sale by real estate agent. I know they're I wouldn't say overpricing it, but they're asking for more than what they're expecting, hoping either one to get their commission and number two, to know they're going to play the bargaining, negotiating game. So that works. It works, but that's not necessarily, you know, the best, you know, way to go if you have the data available. So now what do I do? I've been doing this for the last few years, and some of you are like, oh my God, what do you mean? Of course, you should have been doing this from the beginning. Obviously, I'm looking to get more accurate and more pinpoint precision, getting the price per acre in a certain area. Now, depending on the area, I like to look at a certain subdivision because for the most part, everything's the same. One lot is no different than the other. The only difference would be the size and maybe, just maybe a couple of features about that individual property. But in general, one lot in one subdivision is going to be roughly the same in another. How do I do that? Well, I take all of the sizes of that subdivision, the different lots, you know, a lot of them are the same size, but in general, I look at actual sold comps and where I can get them. And I use that calculation to get the price per acre. Now those sold comps are going to give me the actual current value of the property or the property in that little area. I don't like to go bigger than a subdivision if I can avoid it because, well, like I said a million times, there's a difference between a rich neighborhood and a poor neighborhood. Think about your own neighborhood where you're living now, or maybe where you grew up. Maybe you grew up in a hood like I did, and you knew after you cross a certain street, things become significantly nicer. Still the same general region, but just different area, different neighborhood, different subdivision, however you want to describe it. All of a sudden, things are a lot better. You know, the birds are singing. It was rainy and cloudy in my area. You cross the street, it's all of a sudden it's sunny. Everything smells better. It's just really strange. It's really strange. So if I don't do the subdivision, I will actually mix in low value property with these higher value properties. That's the last thing I want, because now it just kind of confuses things, kind of clouds things up, you know, muddies the water, so to speak. So I like subdivisions. And when I do that, I can find out, okay, hey, which subdivision is more lucrative? Which one has properties that are more expensive? Which ones are cheaper? Now, do I just stick to the more expensive properties? No, because sometimes if I have a bunch of money deployed in land already, and I don't have a ton left, I don't want to get another expensive one. Well, that's not true. Always, you know, there's always a way to get money, but I may target a cheaper property because I might be able to flip that faster, right? But without getting the price per acre, I don't actually know what areas I should focus on depending on what my income goal is for the month or for the quarter or for whatever it is. So far, is this making sense? This all started by just asking, hey, what do you like better, blind offer or neutral letter? And I say offer range, but then I figured I should give you why I like that and how I get to these numbers. So anyways, once I get that number, that price per acre, and I'm contacting people in different ways, text, postcard, email, whatever. If I know I have a good price per acre, I can figure out what how much it should be. So let's just say the price per acre, let's just say for sake of argument, $1,000 per acre. Great. I'm looking at a lot that is 1 acre in size. Okay, great. So I know in the retail market, it's going to be $1,000. Cool. I'm not going to offer them $1,000 because how am I going to make money? At the very least, I'm going to give them or at the most, I want to give them about $500. So that way, if I put 500 to a property, I sell for 1,000, I've doubled my money. Yeah, there's expenses and fees and stuff like that. So you're not exactly doubling the money, but you get the point. But in general, my offer range is going to be from half price to quarter price and anywhere in between. Now, does that mean I won't go lower than quarter price? No, there's times where I got in property for under $100. It just depends. Maybe they owe back taxes, maybe they don't. So within that offer range, what I'll say is like, hey, look, I'm looking to pay between 250 and 500 for your property. If that works for you, give me a call or reply to text or whatever I'm saying. After that, once we're on the phone or we're communicating, I can find out more issues about the property. And this is why the range is important. So let's just say I start off thinking, all right, I'm willing to pay $500 for this property that I'm gonna sell for $1,000. I don't want to pay 500, but I'm willing to because I know I'll still double my money. Now, I start to ask different questions, and I teach this to all my students in much more detail. And each thing I hear about the property that I don't like, I start to knock off a value. It's kind of like being in your driver's test, right? You start off with the perfect score as you're driving through, you have to think about when you're getting your license when you're 16 or whatever. Any mistake, the drivers, like the tester, the instructor, whoever at the DMV, they had the little clipboard, like, oh, nope, didn't signal. Oh, didn't look both ways before going into the intersection, things like that, right? They start knocking things off of your score. Well, I kind of have a similar approach when I'm negotiating for land. Hey, does it have water? Does it have power? Does it have this? Does it have that? And as I find out what's really going on, I end up, asking all my questions, and I end up at the end with the score. That score is the price. Maybe I started with 500, but at the end of the questions, I'll say, hey, I can offer you $300 from what we talked about. Or maybe I find out they owe a bunch of back taxes. I'm like, okay, well, I was going to offer you 500, but you owe about 400 in back taxes. I could offer you $100. So at the end of the day, I'm still potentially out of $500, but out of my pocket, it's just $100. And then once I sell the property, then I can actually do the $400, pay the $400 back taxes to clear it up before I pass it on. So yeah, I didn't make that $400 that I could have, but I didn't really lose anything either. But with that said, I think that's it. That's usually how I do it. That's how I price my offers. I always do an offer range. So this negotiation, and then when people come in ready to talk, they're like, all right, got it. I know what I'm dealing with. I have realistic expectations, and I'm willing to go forward with that. Now, these people who are calling me, they're not wasting my time. I'm not wasting their time. And because of that, I usually can get things done very quickly, and I don't have to do a lot of arm twisting to get them to sell, right? It's usually pretty easy. But that's it. I'll keep it short today. There's only one question. I gave you guys a little bit bonus information. So unless there's no other questions, I'll end this bad boy, but I appreciate you guys listening. I hope this was useful for you. The only thing I'm going to ask you to do is actually go out there and make some money. Right now, the economy is kind of crazy. Inflation's all over the place. So vacant land is extremely valuable right now. People want to buy it because they want something that they can have that's theirs, that they don't have to pay a mortgage on and things like that. And they want to sell it because like, well, I have this property. I'm not going to do anything with it. I've been paying all these taxes. I don't have the money to spare for these taxes anymore, even though the taxes are thing. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, VJ. Ask your question. Yeah, VJ has another question. But the point is, with the offer range, we're communicating. There's nothing hidden. Everything is all good. So yeah, man. Yeah. Now, while I'm waiting for VJ to ask his question, okay, how many letters do you have to send to get the first deal? That's a great question. So I will give you my experience. My first deal, I love to point out the printer in the background right there. I printed out probably 100 or so letters, and I got a deal within those first 100 letters, right? Again, Desert Square property, no one gave a shit about, whatever. These days, it just depends. Now, this was back in 2016, where there's a lot less people doing what I'm doing. But these days, it depends on, number one, the area, as in hey, is it desirable? Is there a lot of competition? Do the people who own the property, whether they live on the property or near the property or not, do they realize the value of the property? Or are they like, hey man, this is just a pain in my neck because I inherited it from my grandfather after he passed away or something. So what do I recommend these days? I recommend, look, if you put out 500 offers, you're going to get at least one. Now, if you look at 500 to 1, it's a very low percentage, and that's not what the quote of the industry average. Fuck the industry average. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about getting you your first deal. Now, 500 can be 100 text messages a day for just one work week. Boom, you get it. You're going to get at least one. I'm not saying you're only going to get one. You'll get at least one, or it could be 500 letters. Now, when you send out the letters, there people take time to read them, to get back to you, things like that. So you don't know how long it takes. Like I've had people, I have who else texted me. I had people that you know, they wouldn't get back to me for 6 months, a year. I had one person, I forgot I mailed to that county because they're like, oh yeah, I'm looking to sell now. Ended up buying the property, and now I still have it because I was like, I might be able to buy a bunch more in this area. We'll see. It's not a great property, but I bought it for $400, whatever. Not that big a deal. But yeah, so I say recommend get about 500 out. You would definitely get a deal on that first mailer. If again, the offer is correct, you have some pretty decent ad copy, and working with you is not gonna be a pain in the ass. You do that, you're gonna get a deal. It's simple, very simple. It's just numbers. And if you send out more than 500 and you got nothing back after a certain amount of time, especially if it's text messaging, you gotta hit me up. I will see what's going on, what's going askew, and then help straighten you out. Does that answer your question? I think we're good. I think we are good. But yeah, anybody, if you guys need help with your offers, with your negotiation, with your due diligence, with your transfer of property, selling, whatever, let me know. I got your back. They don't call me Coach Vic for nothing, right? The people who are under my tutelage, they make money. You don't have to ask me, ask them. They'll tell you from themselves if working with me has been worth it or not. For the most part, it is. At least, you know, that's what they tell me. So I think we're good. I think we're good. Hopefully you guys found this useful and valuable. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you listening. But yeah, this is Coach Vic. I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.